Hello, you're listening to Dangerfield Sunday Prescription, and I am sick. Okay? I'm ill. It's fucked the whole week up, and I'm at that advanced age now where every time I get a little bit sick, I think I'll probably be dead by noon. Bubonic plague or something hideous. And it's caused me to put things off, and things haven't got done, and it's now nearly midnight Saturday, and I want to get this out on time. So there's a lot of things working against this, but I'm going to persevere. Yeah, I am. Persevere. The next door neighbour. There's a mark of the level you're going to get. You know, if you've got anything else to do, maybe go and do it. I'm just saying that now. What have I been up to? I'll tell you what, I had a nice thing actually. I went and pitched a idea to a telly company. They had seen me live a few times and they were like, hey, we want to see you, we want to know what you can do, we want to put you on the television. So I went along and I made something up on the spot, and they liked it. They seemed to like it. They were like, we're going to do it, this is going to work, we're going to put you on the telly, boy. And sent me packing with an apple in my bag, and fuck knows, we're doing something, so that's good. I can tell you now, when I started doing comedy, 8 years ago, and someone said, we're going to put you on a telly, I would have run to the highest hill and gone, yeah, and drunk 1 million bottles of vodka. But you get a bit jaded as you go on, and the ratio of meetings had to things occurring is currently about 1 million to 0. So I'm not going to get too excited, but it's certainly nicer that they liked the pitch than not like the pitch. That would have been awful. Imagine you're in there, there's 4 of them sitting around this table and you're giving them your idea. Imagine they just sort of went, yeah, you've got an idea there, and someone no doubt will enjoy that, so thanks for coming. So luckily I didn't get that. I do have a tooth problem as well. My tooth is fizzing. Okay, my tooth is fizzing, causing my lip to fizz. So I've got a kind of a lip-mouth tooth fizz going. You've probably had one before. It's slowly swelling up as well now, that lip, as I mention it. It's almost like I'm the cathartic energy of focusing on it, mind over matter, etc., is causing it to swell as if I'd just had it removed. It's my mind telling my body to have it removed. And so, yeah, it's problematic. We got problems here. But I've had a good week. It was nice to do the pitch. I'm going to Cambodia next week. And that's going to be amazing. All sorts of nice things have been happening. The weather changed. I think that's why I might have got a cold. Well, that's what the whole fucking world thinks anyway. As soon as you say to someone in England, oh, I've got a touch of cold, they're like, yeah, the weather changed, didn't it? And you sort of go, yeah. And I don't know if weather changing has ever caused anyone a cold, because that would mean the whole world had a cold. I mean, let's have it right, I've had this cold since 86, but maybe the weather's changed just once. Oh, I'll tell you what I have done. I've only gone and discovered Netflix. Yes, I know Netflix wasn't lost. It's a little bit like Columbus discovering America, and I know I'm a little bit late, but I did get a free Netflix account off the darknet, and wow, that's fucking ruined my life. Immediately ruined my life. I'm not interested in television programs much, but when you watch, I'll tell you what, I did enjoy Breaking Bad. I did enjoy that. I downloaded them all as torrents before they were even known about in England, and really liked it. But even with the torrents, by episode season 2 or whatever, I was getting like 1 a week because they were coming out live in America and I was downloading it. But I heard about that Better Call Saul thing, and that's why I got me snide Netflix account. And I've watched that Better Call Saul, and I remember thinking, nah, this is cack. The writers of Breaking Bad have got a bit arrogant in their abilities to tell a story, and they've churned out some shit. You know, I can imagine what that's like. They're at the top of the mountain. They're thinking, oh, we done Breaking Bad. We toss stories off without thinking about them. And I thought they'd done that with Better Call Saul. I was thinking, this is shit. And so I watched the first one. I thought, give it a go. Give it more than 1 episode. So I've watched the second one. I'm already thinking, oh man, this is just, nothing's happening. This is rubbish. cool, so I've watched about 8 of them that night. And this is for something I didn't like. Yeah, I'm 8 episodes in, and of course it got light, and I'd seen them all, and yeah, I watched the whole fucking lot. And then I told my girlfriend about it, and she was like, "Yeah, well, that's what happens with that's what happens." And then I watched Daredevil, the first couple of episodes, and it's quite rubbish. And then I told my girlfriend, and she said, "Yeah, we'll give it a go." And we put it on, and of course we watched the whole fucking thing that day. And I understand our viewing habits have certainly changed with things like Netflix, with the quality of programs. You know, an hour of Daredevil is as good as a film from the 70s, you know, so it's like watching a 10-hour film in one hit, and you just sit there stuffing fucking, I don't know, ice cream and buns and cornflakes and God knows what in your face, just to give you the energy to keep your eyes open to watch the fucking thing. And then when it's over, you're kind of like, you're like a junkie, like, oh my God, I need just one more. And that kept happening. It'd get to the end of one, and it'd be like, oh, come on, let's just watch one more. Bearing in mind it's designed to make you want to watch one more. The last 5 minutes of any TV show is structured, intrinsically made and designed for you to want to watch the next bit. And so, you know, unless you've got something else to do, which I usually haven't, that's what happens. So me and Netflix, where, I don't know, man, I don't know what my relationship is with it at the moment. I'm concerned that anything I watch on there that I like is going to take 12 hours away from me that day. So you could appreciate that's an odd relationship. But Daredevil was kind of alright. And then I heard the bloke, I don't know his name, the actor, he was on TalkSport, and he was like, oh yeah, I've just been at Soho House with Thierry Henry, and I live about a spit away from Soho House, and I just thought, when I go in there, why is it always that mug from Simply Red or one of the Doctor Who's in there? I've never seen Thierry Henry in Soho House. I've never seen anyone in Soho House that I'd want to see, that I'd come away and go, no shit, I saw Thierry Henry in Soho House. It's always like, oh man, Doctor Who was in there again. I'm not joking. What's his name? Peter Davison, All Creatures Great and Small, that Doctor Who. Years ago, I was in there with a mate, and he was in there, and my friend, Peter Davison, was with this girl, and my friend, all nervous, he's really into Doctor Who. He said to this girl that was with Peter Davison, he said, I'm a real fan of Doctor Who, and she looked at him and she went, yeah, he's an alcoholic and a wife beater. A time travelling one at that. I'll tell you what, now I think of it, let me tell you this. I have met Peter Davison, yeah? I've met, what's that one whose face looks like a crab apple? Oh man, what's his name? Really rubbish one. I'm sure he was a comedian, and his joke was to go, Sylvester McCoy. That was him. Doctor Who. I met Sylvester McCoy. Did he do that, or am I thinking of the cat? I told you I'm ill. This podcast is fucked, man. I'm so sorry. Am I confusing Sylvester the cat? That's what Doctor Who. Fuck me, man. Turn it off. Go and do something else. I've warned you. Look, with little power comes fuck all responsibility. If you're listening, it's your choice. Right, let's pedal back a bit. I've met Sylvester McCoy. I've met Peter Davis. Shit, I'm dying, man. My lip is still getting bigger. My lip's getting bigger, the sick's getting sicker, and the podcast's getting shitter. This is some Trinity. Right, so I've met... Oh, man, I can't stop myself doing it. Right, fucking concentrate, Dangerfield. Breathe. I am sorry. You know what? I'd really, really appreciate you listening to this. The numbers are going up every week. People are obviously telling people. It hasn't gone below the first week, so a lot of people are regulars. I get a lot of people say that it's part of their Sunday now. And, you know, I'm a performer. I'm a comedian. I do this for a reason. And I do like the fact that you listen to it. It means a lot to me, so I am sorry. But I thought rather than knock one out sick... They're not knock one out at all, yeah? So fair enough. Right, let's go back. I've met Peter Davison. I've met Sylvester McCoy. Yeah? I've met... Oh, fuck, I can't even remember his name. The Doctor Who of my generation, come on, what's his name? The original. Tom Baker. I've met Peter Davison, Sylvester McCoy, and Tom Baker. Now, that's quite a cool load of Doctor Who's. I'm not a fan, but my mate is, obviously, so that's quite cool. And on the same night as I met Peter Davison, I also met Clive Sinclair of ZX Spectrum fame. And I did own a ZX Spectrum. I was a Spectrum lad. It was the old Spectrums versus Commodores, and I was certainly a Spectrum man. And when I met Clive Sinclair, and he had a dolly bird on his arm, and it was really weird. I was like, come on, man, you made us press 4 keys just to get some quotes. How can you be having a trophy girlfriend, you fuck? But yeah. So, going back, Matt Murdock, that's Daredevil. He was in Soho House with Thierry Henry, not Sylvester and Tweety Pie. So, a little bit gutted there. I'm going to have to grab a bit of tissue and blow my nose. Hang on. Yeah, I just turned away and really just snorted then. So, that's Daredevil. That was all good. I pitched my idea. That was all good. And I'm going to Cambodia next week. I remembered that I had a job once. It's very weird. I managed to get through most of my adult life without doing an honest day's work. Doing many dishonest days' works, but not very many honest ones. But weirdly, I did get this job working in schools. Now, you got to check this out. So I was an active addict, yeah? I had a daily consumption of super tenants, heroin and Valium, a lot of all of that. And one day, to keep my mother happy, I went, I'm going to get a job, yeah? And I managed to put it off 4 days because I was waiting for the Thursday edition of The Guardian to come out, because that had media jobs in it. And, yeah, you know, having absolutely no history in the media at that stage, I thought that would be the one for me. And this weird job appeared, and it said, are you comfortable speaking in public? Have you been to university? And I could answer yes to both of those questions. And it was like, well, this might be the job for you. So I scratched down the number, and I said to my mum, yeah, I'm going for a job. And so you can imagine every hour after that, my mum's like, have you applied for that job yet? You've been sitting around here for 2 decades on your ass doing fuck all. Go and get that job. So I remember I had the number, and I've rung it up, and I didn't even know, you can imagine what it's like. I was fucked. And I rang it up, and I was like, yeah, alright, I am ringing about the job, yeah? And I was thrown a curveball immediately, because the person on the other end of the phone went, yeah, what one was it? And I said, oh yeah, it's the public speaking, and I have been to university. And she went, yeah, but there was 3 jobs there. What one was it you were in? And I was thinking, this isn't going well. This isn't looking like I'm going to end up in paid employment. And I honestly went, the first one? And she went, oh, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, that's the talking in schools, yeah? Now you can imagine, as a junkie, when she said talking in schools, yeah, I was thinking, talking in schools, no. So cleverly I went, yeah. And she said, okay, give us your address and we'll send you an application form. So what seemed like eternity went past, and I got this application form, and of course my mother's waking me up with it 4 o'clock in the afternoon, smashing me over the head with the application form. Fill this in, get yourself a job. And of course I hadn't done anything. I'd done fuck all at this point. I mean, I'd worked on a few pop videos as a blag, just a mate was a director and he said, come on, just do this. And I hadn't had a proper job. Excuse me. So I had to get a few friends to pretend I'd worked for them on all this and that, and I made up a fake CV, and it looked quite good. I was quite impressed by it. I would have probably employed me, judging by my own bullshit CV. So I got this bullshit CV together and I sent it off, and I thought, you're never going to hear from him again. If you keep hearing something click, by the way, it's this. Because I'm up in Because I'm up in my office chair with my new mic stand and my professional podcast setup, there's a new thing. It's not the creaky floorboards that I worry that you thought was my spine now. It's the creaky armchair, which I'm worried that you'll think is my tooth now. So, fuck knows where I was, man. Hang on. Yeah. So I sent it off. And of course, weirdly, I get a letter saying, yes, we'd like you to come for an interview. And I'm like, whoa. And weirdly, I start thinking, this could be amazing. I could actually get this job. So I go to a charity shop and I get myself a suit. And it doesn't fit properly. And looking back, I looked like Rick Mail in The Young Ones. You know, the trousers were up round my shins and my sleeve. I got long arms anyway, and the sleeves were up. Just ridiculous. And the only shirt I had was sort of like this sort of gypsy orange. And gross. And I thought, this is rubbish. And of course, I didn't know how long I was going to be there, so I've had to take some drugs with me, and I got fucking spikes in my pockets and all this nonsense. And I've gone up there, and now, in the application form, they said, before you get here, we need you to prepare a talk. We want you to do a presentation, a 10-minute presentation on any subject you want. And this will be given in front of the other applicants, and blah, 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 blah. And so I thought, being a wise ass clever cunt, I thought I'll do my talk on nothing. You know, this is one of the problems of having an art school education. You know, I'll do it on nothing. I'll do a postmodern pastiche of a talk, yeah? Yeah, it will be on nothing, but yeah, nothing is everything and everything is something, yeah? You know, Heidegger, yeah? So I've prepared this shitty talk on nothing, and it was just rehashed stuff from my days at art college, just stuck together, turned up there. Now, luckily, the other 20 applicants were all pricks. Now, that was just luck, really, but they were just pricks. And I kind of thought, I'll get this job, unless my judgment is wrong, but it wasn't. They were pricks. So one of them stood up, and he's gone, oh, hang on, I'll tell you what the job was for, because I suddenly wanted it. This job was it was in the independent newspaper had funded it. I won't tell you the name of the company because they're still going and they're good company, and I don't even, maybe the geezer listens to this. Hello, Johnny, if you are. Sorry. The job was going into schools. You do an hour talking to school kids in assembly about university life. You tell them how much it's going to cost them, and the bottom line was, there's no such thing as the best or the worst university. What there is the best or the worst university, depending what you want. Like, if you want one full of wankers, you go to Oxford. If you want to learn something exciting, you go to Dartington, where I went. If you want one full of massive benders, you go to the Courtauld. You know, there's whatever you want. And joking aside, you know, if you want loads of parties and that, there's better places to go than others. So there is the right university for you, and there's the wrong university for you. And I just told the kids about that and how much it was going to cost them. I also told them that you're going to have a fucking great time and you're better off going to university than working, and etc, etc. So it looked like a cush job, and it was about 80 quid for 1 hour talking. For a using addict with no money, 80 quid to talk to some kids for an hour about what you got up to at university, game on, I love it. So I wanted the job. So at the interview, we're all there, and this bloke Johnny went, hi, yeah, listen, we're not in competition with each other here, yeah? Bullshit. As if, what? There's one job, there's 20 of us here, we ain't in competition. We're here to support each other, yeah? So we're all going to give our presentations to everyone else and get some feedback. And, you know, just enjoy it, yeah? Just enjoy the process. Everyone hates the other people. They'd rather, let's face it, everyone's there because they want that job. Because A, they haven't got a job, or B, they hate their job. Either way, if they could have shot everyone else in the head and been the only person left available for the job, they would have done it. So don't come there, there's no competition. Anyway, so this bloke stood up and he went, hi, I'm Greg, and I'm going to talk about custard, yeah? Because imagine you're on an aeroplane and it was full of custard. What would you do then? I mean, there's not enough spoons to go round for a start. Oh, man. right, it's a bit arrogant, but it wasn't even as good as what I just said. I cannot improvise as bad as this bloke's thing about custard was. He started off with the history of it, like custard was invented in the Crimea when they had only yellow to eat. Look, it wasn't even that good. So he stood up and done that, and then some other prick stood up and done his. And then I stood up and said, I'm doing mine about nothing. And it was better than everyone's, and I got the job. I'm not just saying that. I did. It was better, and I got the job. And it was a fucking great job. All I had to do was go into these schools, essentially do an hour of stand-up. It's one of the reasons I got into stand-up, really, because I felt very comfortable. I'd get up on stage, I'd get out all the information that I was not contracted, but what I was meant to tell them. I'd get all the information out. You're going to be in 30 grand debt. There's not the best uni. There's the best for you. Blah this, blah that. What do you want? Go and visit the place. I'd get all that out in about 30 seconds and then just tell them stories for an hour, and they'd be laughing their heads off, and it was a real good fun. And then I'd get 80 odd quid. If I managed to sell the system to the school, like some fucking thing some system where they could type in their uni requirements and then it would tell them where to go. If I sold that to the school, I'd get another 60 quid. It was fucking great. I was only doing like 4 hours work a week, and I had about £400 in my pocket. Absolutely wonderful. But there were some downsides, of course, because I'm using will cause problems wherever you do it. And I remember once I've gone into this school, and you remember what schools are like, you know, and I was about 35 at the time. And I'd gone in there, and I'm thinking, right, I'll have a quick hit before... you know, I'm in the school toilets. I'll have a quick hit before I get on stage. Oh, fuck. And talk to children. So I'm in this... in the, what do you call it, the cubicle, but remember in schools, the walls don't hit the floor or the ceiling. There's like a foot clearance either end. So I'm being really quiet, but you can't be that quiet when you've got a little blowtorch under your spoon. And then I drop the needle, and I watch it slow-mo. Boing! And it bounces off the floor into the next cubicle. And I'm like, and I hear this little kid's voice, because you got to remember, although I was talking to sixth formers, you know, people off to university soon, there's also 11, 12-year-olds there, and this dear little hand come under the toilet with a 2mm syringe and needle attached to it, and I was looking at it thinking, does this day end up with me in prison? And this hand's come under, and this tiny voice went, "Oi, mister, I think you dropped your battery." And I thought, reinforce it. I went, yes, thank you, young man. It is my battery that I have dropped. Thank you. And of course, picked it up and carried on and gave her quite a magnificent speech. It was a fucking weird job. Another time, I remember I was living in Dartford at the time, and I had the gig. Fucking gig. I was teaching school kids about university life. I had this one I had to do in Essex, and so I said to a mate of mine, look, do us a favour, drive us to the school, can you? I'll sort you out a few quid. We'll have a laugh, smoke a few numbers in the car over. And he said, yeah, no problem. So he's come round my mother's house where I was living, you know, about an hour before I needed to be there, and we smoked a couple of joints. And I said, look, I'll just run upstairs, sort myself out, and we'll go. And he's gone, all right. So I've gone up there, and I've had this hit. And we've got in the car, and we're on the way there, and Johnny's rung me up. Hi, Chris, yeah, sure. Yeah, you know you've got to do a school in Essex, yeah? And I was like, yeah. And he said, good, because, they're waiting for you, yeah? And I was like, yeah, no, I'm on my way, no worries, I won't be late. Because with schools, you can't be late. They're very, very heavily structured. You can't just, it's not like a gig, waltz in and go, sorry, are you lot? you're gonna have to drink for 2 extra hours. No, it's like, at the end of your hour, they're off to another lesson. So I said, no worries, I'll be there. And then suddenly I started feeling it, and I've had a dirty hit, yeah, which is a bit of bacteria, a bit of something hideous gets on the needle, and whereas usually you might breathe it in and your body filters it, you're jabbing it straight in your veins, and it knocks you out, man. It fucks you up. It's like having food poisoning. Your head pounds, you can vomit, you're freezing, you fall over, and I could feel it coming on, and I was like, shit, I've already said I'm on my way, and I just thought, oh man, what am I going to do? And it was getting worse and worse, and my mate Mark, who's driven me, he said, you look like shit, man, this is fucked. So when I got to the school, I thought, you've got to go and you got to at least see them. You can use how rough you look as an excuse, as long as you got there. It's not like just blowing it out. So when I got to the school, I kind of shuffled up, shivering, hands around my shoulders, and he looked at me, and straight away this teacher was like, ooh. I said, hello, sorry, I've come to do the lecture. And he went, are you sure you're right? I said, well, I think I'm having a migraine. And he sat me down, and he got me a glass of water. He said, look, don't worry about doing the show. Do you need a lift home? And I went, nah. And I fucked it up. I went, no, my mate's waiting. And he was like, hey. I said, no, it's alright, just tell Johnny I got here. And I run back into the car. Fucking weird, man. Weird old job. Some of the gigs I've done with, fuck it, I'm gonna say gigs, man. Some of them were too good though. Like sometimes I was sent out to these like all girls schools in the middle of nowhere, like places I didn't even know existed. And I don't mean places in geographical places, but I didn't know these kind of schools existed. And I'd get there and there'd just be all these girls all identically dressed with the same voice, and I'd be sent in this room, and the woman would say, we've got tea and cakes for you, okay, if you need anything we'll be out there, enjoy the lake if you want afterwards. And I'd just stand up in front of all these girls with their legs crossed and their hands on their knee, and they'd just all be looking at me with the same smile. And I knew that it didn't matter what I said and what they'd done with their future. The success of their life is already written. Their fate and destiny, positive fate and positive destiny, exists for people who had already clearly had that amazing start in life. They had this weird arrogance, like they knew that they had value. They knew that they would score points everywhere they went, and it didn't matter just because some junkie come in and said, "Oi, there's not the right university, there's just the right university for you." They were just thinking, it doesn't matter, I'll be off at Oxford and then I'll be working at Daddy's legal practice. But do fuck off. Man, what a weird job. Right, listen, I have given this my all. I'm cutting it short here today. I'm sick as fuck. I've done my best. Come back next week and I will make up for it. I'm going to be in Cambodia, but I'll record it in the week. Look after yourself and those you love. Yeah, see you later. Much later. Alright, hang on, I'm just going to sort out the questions. Okay, this week's questions. Ollie Raisin says, how old is Russell Kane? Well, that eyeliner wearing geriatric is obviously 500 years old. Gemma Beagley asks, will you read out my question? Oh, Beagley, you fucked me up. Pope Lonergan, I never know how to say this geezer's name. Pope Lonergan says, what is your definition of romance? Well, it's obvious, isn't it? It's the beauty of honesty. Yeah? Oh, yeah. Pope Lonergan, having another stab at the cherry. What would be a worthwhile community initiative? Well, Pope, that will be the beauty of honesty. Joe Hawke says, will you vote and why? No, I won't vote. I'm a Marxist. What do I want? But party politics is a sideshow. It's bullshit. It's nothing to do with what goes on in the world. JP Morgan runs the world, not fucking Labour, Conservatives, all that bullshit. Darren Bailey says, what's your interpretation of slag bowl for dinner? I don't even know what that means. Slag bowl for dinner? There you go. Matthew Ford says, when are tickets on sale for your... right. I'm going to be doing Sex Tourist. It's for that fucking pitch. They want to see Sex Tourist. So if you're interested in seeing the show I said I wouldn't be doing again, I'll be doing it again at the end of May or early June. I'm not sure, but don't worry, podcasters. I'll be keeping you informed. Zoe Willis says, I'd like you to explore and explain the origins of the expression muggy melt. That is all. Well, Zoe, I don't know, you muggy cunt. Okay, you lot, thanks for listening. See you later. Much later.